Just one weekend without violence. That is the hope today in Baltimore, Maryland. It's the city's second attempt at a 72-hour ceasefire. It starts today and it goes through Sunday. Here's why they're holding this ceasefire event weekend. You can see all of those red dots, right? Well, each red dot represents a human being killed since the beginning of this year. As of today, 300 people have been murdered in Baltimore. It's a heartbreaking milestone the city has passed every year since 2015. And that community activists say they can trace back to the death of Freddie Gray and the riots that followed. Erricka Bridgeford is one of the ceasefire's founders. She joins me right now. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for your efforts because it's so important. I was curious from your perspective, what is causing this spike in violence to happen?
So it's really important to understand that America is one of the most violent places on earth, and that people live within a structure where some people have to be at the top of it and some people have to be at the bottom in order for America's structure to thrive the way that it's set up right now. And so America uses violent forms of systemic oppression in certain places in this country. And Baltimore is one of those places. And so within those systems, if people are living under criminal conditions, it's very easy to label them savages when they are trying to survive within those conditions. And so a spike in violence at any given time in history points to what has been happening before and the decisions we either made or did not make that made sure those people had their basic needs met: housing, opportunities for jobs, access to healthy food, quality education. So when you live in a system where some people are born with those opportunities and never have to think about it, and some people struggle to have those opportunities, you're going to keep creating this kind of thing that we see happening in Baltimore and all around the country.
I understand the socioeconomic reasons. Others say part of the problem is Baltimore. You know, there's this Department of Justice investigation into the police department after the death of Freddie Gray and the riots that followed. Some say the police are afraid to do their jobs. They're not coming down hard enough on people, for example, loitering on the corners or people suspected of wrongdoing. Do you agree with that?
I am very leery of being pulled into conversations that pull one particular police department out of an entire system of policing that, again, points back to oppression. And so
do you think the police are doing their jobs adequately in your neighborhood?
I think that, I think that there's a lot of work to be done with policing, because policing is set within an oppressive culture. So you can ask me this question 50 different ways, and I'm really going to continue to give the same answer, because what I am not going to do is be quoted as an activist who is just against the police. I am not going to lay a monumental problem like homicide at the feet of one agency when so many things need to be dismantled in the way that we do criminal justice, in the way that we do humanity, in the way that we other some people in our society and uphold others. I can't lay this monumental problem at one agency's feet. So I'm going to say policing needs to be improved, housing needs to be improved, education needs to be improved, job opportunities, a lot of things need to be improved.
Okay, and I'm with you. You're absolutely right about all of that. So you're holding this ceasefire weekend. What would you like people to do, and do you think that it will work? Because you've held this event one time before and there were 2 homicides. So tell me about your event this weekend.
Yeah, there were 2 homicides. So a big thing that we learned from that last ceasefire is to really recognize the places that we have become numb around homicide, and that the places in our hearts where we have accepted something that should not be normal. And so now we are aiming not to be numb, to feel all together, to vibrate higher around our city, to shine our light. It is very easy to point at what we see that's wrong with Baltimore, but we forget that Baltimore is one of the dopest, one of the most brilliant, one of the strongest cities in this country. And so, you know, people aren't going to show up in Baltimore starting trouble because we removed our Confederate statues, right? Because people know not to mess with Baltimore, because we're strong. And I really want the Baltimore to remember its self-esteem and its self-efficacy, that we have power and light that we can stand in together and use our collective consciousness that way. And so people are celebrating the ceasefire all over the city. There are all kinds of events happening around the city, small ones, big ones, so people will have plenty to do to remember who we are as a people.
Oh, I love that, Ericka. And just full transparency, I still own a home in Baltimore. I've lived in Baltimore off and on for 6 or 7 years, so you're right. Baltimore is good. I love
Yeah, I
Baltimore.
heard that your heart was still in Baltimore. It belongs in Baltimore.
It does. It really does, and it always will. Thank you so much for your efforts, Ericka Bridgeford, and thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Cough does